My oldest brother's name was Aaron, my middle brother's name was Michael, and then myself. We were all within 3.5 years, 4 years of each other. So Aaron was first diagnosed when he was 21. I was a junior in high school. He was away at college, and that kind of happens very quickly, but then he quickly healed. So when I went to college, I prided myself on being this person who thought I had it all together. I was a straight-A student in high school, and I knew I wanted to put that much emphasis on my college degree. Well, within 3 months of college, I unfortunately was raped. I was embarrassed. I was, of course, most women do this, they turn the blame on themselves. From that moment of having that one little incident in my life, it completely changed my outlook on who I was, what I wanted out of my life, and so much fear that I never knew I could ever have in my life. When I got married at 23, I remember having this two-sided feeling in my gut. I was so excited, so overjoyed. This was what I planned for my whole life. Every girl does. At the same time, I had this guilty, deep gut issue that I was dealing with that knew something wasn't right. Within 3 months of being married, he was already threatening divorce. He went from verbal abuse all the way down to physical abuse within months. When we got married, we weren't living here. I had no support system. We ended up moving up to Chicago, which is where he was from. So here I am in this home that we created, and I was scared to be in my own home. I got married in 2006, and at the same time, my brother was re-diagnosed with leukemia. It was 5 years, it came back, and this time it was full-on leukemia. It was more than any of us could handle emotionally, trying to be there with him and with his wife and now his 2 kids. In 2007, all of this came to a head, and we ended up losing my brother. So after Aaron passed away, I obviously needed to go back. I will never forget this day. I needed to go to bed early. It was, the next day was my first day back to work after 2 or 3 weeks, and I needed to be, level-headed for my job. My ex-husband started drinking as normal at noon, and I go to bed and I am fast asleep. And I just remember waking up and being held down and screaming at the top of my lungs. He was holding me down in a way that, you think you're so strong. Well, here's this man on top of me. This takes me back to in college. And somehow God gave me the strength to just push him off, no idea how. And I just kept running. And it seemed like the room was so big. Unfortunately, we had a gun in our home. And I remember him saying as clear as day, if you take another step, I will shoot you. For whatever reason, had the courage to just keep going. And thank God he didn't do anything. From that day forward, I knew that it was time to get my life back in order. I remember coming home, and I remember, here's my dad. He was like this person I always looked up to and felt so comfortable with. And he goes, I don't want to hear anything else about it. I want you to make a choice. And I don't know if I just needed that boost from the one person I just admired so much. And I just looked at him and I was like, I'm done. So when I moved back to St. Louis, a lot of things had changed for me. I was in control of my life again, and I was going to work, but I did want to live with my parents and kind of ease into the situation. I noticed that my parents made us switch. We had always gone to the same church growing up. Not a bad church, just, a different kind of church. So I noticed that they were more energized to go to church and more excited about it. So I thought, I gotta try this out. So I walked in the doors, and I remember them saying to me, welcome, and looked me in the eyes and said, we're so glad you are here today. I thought, wow, she was really talking to me. And then of course I sat through the service and just felt, moved by, of course, the music. The music always moves me in ways that I never knew music could. But these are songs that really hit you where you need them to hit you. And of course, here I had just moved back and had this traumatic experience, and that's what I needed, something to hit me in the face and say, this is where you're supposed to be. Every time I come to St. John, the message it's like it's speaking to me. You know, it's always about something that I'm encountering in my life. It's real life. Now, to this day, I am happily married, and I will tell you that the person who I married was one of my brother Aaron's good friends from college. He is just the most amazing man. We have 2 daughters, and our daughters love it here. Even our 17-month-old daughter loves the nursery, and I never thought that we would ever get this kind of community in church and this feeling of being home. So in the past year, I've kind of had this urge inside of me to kind of take what I've been through in my life and do something good with it. And so I started being a leader with Grief Share. I also am committing this fall to divorce care. For so long, I wanted it to be just hidden under a rock and not even say that's what happened to me, but it did. I realized those are 2 things that I have been a part of, and now let's give back and let's be there for those people who are in the thick of it. God was calling me out of my comfort zone because honestly, never knew I had it in me, but doing it and seeing that I was able to do it, it's like I'm more motivated than ever to give back.